So ideally at this point in time, if you're following along, you would have driven for dollars or pulled a list, and now you have a list of addresses and hopefully phone numbers. Now, if you're watching this all at once, no worries. Maybe you come back to it and kind of follow along and watch each segment as we do it. Let's say you have that list of addresses and phone numbers. And now you want to reach out to them because a list of addresses and phone numbers, it means nothing until you reach out to them. So now you need to call and or text these people and ask them if they want to sell. How I always thought about this cold calling process is a conveyor belt. You're pouring the list onto the conveyor belt to move down the process. So this beginning process is getting the lists, getting the leads, doing that. And then this part is closing the deals and making money. So you want to go down this conveyor belt process, right? So how you're doing this is you're pouring the leads onto this. And now what you need to do is you need to filter these leads. You're looking for sellers and homeowners that raise their hand and say, I want to sell. Like that's what you're looking for. If they don't raise their hand and they say, never call me again, I hate these calls, that's not a lead. And you want to be cautious of your time. You don't want to waste time on people yelling at you or cursing you out. It's going to happen. If you're cold calling, it's going to happen. You want to spend your time on people that say, I have a house, I want to sell. And when you're cold calling, not all of these are going to be hot leads. So maybe you talk to 50 of these people before you get your first deal. So set that expectation. So a lot of people ask, does cold calling work? Yes, of course. I've been cold calling for, however long. I've cold called before I was in real estate. I will continue to cold call. People have been cold calling for 100 years since phones have been around. It's true, tried and tested. And it's a great way of talking to sellers. So now what you're going to do is you're going to get that list of phone numbers that we just skip traced. Ideally, it's all skip trace. You're going to get that list and you're going to put it into the dialer of your choice. Now, I recommended Batch Dialer. You go, you make a new campaign, you upload the file, and boom, now your list is in there. Now you have to do some filters. I recommend doing a 3-line dialer. So what a 3-line dialer means is that means there's 3 different phone numbers calling at once. Maybe if you're just starting out, you want to start with 1, just get used to it for like the first week or 2. But eventually your goal is to get to a 3-line dialer and eventually a 5-line dialer. Any more than that's too much. 5 lines is like the perfect amount. So ideally a 5-line dialer, but let's start with a 1-line dialer for like the first week or 2 when you're just calling people, getting used to the systems, getting used to the conversations, and then move up to a 3-line dialer. Now when you're cold calling, just be ready to get rejected. Get ready to get yelled at. Get ready for all this stuff. Now, if you go on my YouTube channel, you'll see that I have videos on cold calling and talking to sellers. I recommend checking those out. See how I handle these conversations and know that every single person that wholesaled and started in sales was horrible when they first started. It is what it is. You're gonna be bad. What you need to do is you need to get thick skin. You need to be like, I don't care how this goes. I don't care what this goes like. You need to just keep going. The best mindset to have when cold calling is they yell at you, you're horrible on the phones, you mess up, you're sloppy, like you stumble on your words, and then you hang up with that person. Well, person 2 doesn't know that happened. So you need to have short-term memory. It's like being a quarterback. I love this analogy because I'm a big football guy, and a quarterback throws a pick 6. Let's say they just throw an interception, pick 6. Well, guess what? That team they threw the pick 6 to is kicking the ball. And that quarterback's getting the ball again in another 5-10 minutes. And he needs to forget that pick 6 happened and drive the ball down to score again. If he mentally remembers that pick 6, he's going to throw another pick 6. Just be cool, be calm, be casual, and don't overthink this process. I do have a video on my YouTube where I went over like cold calling advice. I recommend checking that video out if you haven't. I really dive deep into like the mindset and the cold calling advice that I use when I'm doing these calls. So check out that because that will really help you. Now, if you want to text, just like as a little bonus segment, if you want to text, I don't know if I recommend it. I think the texting program that I used fixed their stuff, but there's 2 ways that you can text. You can text with batch leads, which if you're using batch leads, I don't know what plan it is, if it's in the initial plan or a different plan, but batch leads does have texting, or you could use launch control. And launch control is cool because you can text en masse. So now you get that list, you can put it into a dialer and cold call, and you could put it into a texter and text them. Now the texting is under a lot of scrutiny, a lot of regulations, but if you can figure out your way around it, then there is opportunities with texting. Now, one trick to remember with texting is a lot of people are leaving texting. So that means two things. That means a lot of people are leaving, so maybe I should leave, but that also means a lot of people are leaving, so there's less competition. You know, you gotta think like that. There's less competition now, so maybe it's a good time to start. Try out texting if you want. I have a link for launch control as well. Batch dialer for dialing. And one other quick thing for dialing, and if you watch the YouTube video, you'll see I mentioned this, is distract yourself while you're dialing, because cold calling is miserable. You could talk to the best cold caller in the world, like I'm sure they're not happy doing it. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody enjoys it. So play video games, watch movies, play board games, do puzzles while you're cold calling. You know, distract yourself while doing it. Do it in a group so it's more enjoyable. You can laugh at a seller yelling at you. Don't just put yourself in a closet and cold call all day and go insane. That's like my advice.